This week on Adventist News Network, holiday outreach in Brazil and Australia.
Camping out at Church for a Cause.
And a new home for orphans in India.
These stories and more just ahead.
This is Adventist News Network, a service of the Seventh-day Adventist World Church. Thank you for joining us this week. Adventist religious liberty advocates met with the Hungarian ambassador to the United States this week. Adventists are hoping officials in the country will reconsider a law that in January will deregister the Adventist Church in Hungary. Along with hundreds of other minority religions, the church is set to lose its official status in the country in 2012. Church religious liberty leaders are reporting that the ambassador was receptive to the challenges they presented. The Adventist Church operates a seminary and more than 100 congregations in Hungary.
World Church President Ted Wilson recently showed his support for religious liberty by promoting an upcoming Religious Liberty Congress.
In April 2012, I plan to attend the 7th World Congress for Religious Liberty in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. What an opportunity for us to affirm our historic and continuing support for religious freedom. And what an opportunity to mix with those who hold positions of influence in society, to explore how together we can speak for the millions of people around the world today who face discrimination, imprisonment, or worse, simply because they've chosen the path of faithfulness. May we, as God's people, always have the courage to speak for freedom for every person, no matter who they are or what faith tradition they represent.
Wilson is one of the keynote speakers for the International Religious Liberty Association's 7th World Congress. If you'd like to attend, visit irla.org.
Adventists in southern England recently spent a night sleeping outside to raise the awareness of the region's homeless population. The church members say they got first-hand knowledge of what people living on the streets endure during the winter when temperatures can drop below freezing. They also raised money for their church's community outreach program. The members plan to use the funds to purchase a food truck to deliver hot meals to area homeless people this winter.
A prominent Adventist recording artist and pastor recently performed in front of an unusual audience. During a visit to prison facilities in Slovenia, Whitley Phipps sang Amazing Grace and other beloved gospel songs for prisoners, their families, and prison staff. Prison director Jorge Pojroge says Phipps brought hope and encouragement to the audience. While in Slovenia, Phipps also met with the coordinator of chaplaincy ministries for the country's prison system. Phipps arrived from Brussels, where he performed at the annual prayer breakfast for European Union Parliament members.
Orphans in India are getting a new home thanks to an Adventist supporting ministries work in the region. Asian Aid is building a new orphanage for 70 orphans currently living in a cramped home on the outskirts of Boboli, India. The new Sunrise Orphanage outside the city will house more than twice as many needy children. Asian Aid workers say the 12-acre plot means the orphanage can grow some of its own food and sell crops for income. Each child will plant a vegetable plot to learn gardening skills and the value of industry. The children will also attend nearby Adventist schools. Asian Aid sponsors more than 8,500 children to attend Adventist schools in India, Nepal, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. Their goal is to invest in kids' futures through education while introducing them to Jesus.
Adventists in Brazil plan to collect 8,000 tons of food and toys for underprivileged children and families this holiday season. Local Adventist churches will each choose a service project in their community and collect food to stock local Adventist Development and Relief Agency food banks. While the churches race to collect the most supplies, participants say the true reward is working with community members towards a worthy goal. An Adventist couple brainstormed the Christmas Multiron Sharing Hope project over dinner almost 2 decades ago. The annual project regularly draws support from Brazilian celebrities and other prominent figures, including the country soccer legend Pelé.
The Spanish Ministry of Education recently granted official accreditation to the theology program at the church's Sagunto College in Valencia. Courses and degrees in theology offered at Sagunto now have the same recognition as those from any other of Spain's state universities. School of Theology Dean Angel Roy said he was grateful for the milestone and thanked God for directing the accreditation process.
The Adventist Church in South America is sending 4 pastors and their families to support the denomination's work in the Middle East. Church leaders are saying the decision marks a milestone for the church in South America. After receiving outside support for more than a century, the region is now returning the favor. Greater Middle East Union President Homer Trecarton says he hopes other church regions follow South America's lead. He says the region's commitment will strengthen the church in South America as well as in the Middle East.
Up next, a summer program that pays tuition and changes lives.
Welcome back. While most students are looking forward to a vacation during this holiday season, this week's Adventist Review helps students looking further ahead. Kimberly Moran previews the issue.
Today, I'd like to share details on 3 features in the December 15 Adventist Review. Our cover story is titled Frontline Witnessing. Although it's close to another end of the calendar year, it isn't too early for young adults to start thinking about college and their summer plans, and they might take a cue from this story written by Sandra Blackmer, which shares the details of the Pennsylvania Youth Challenge Summer MAGA Book Program in Philadelphia. This program isn't just about selling literature for tuition money, it's about changing lives in amazing ways. Tara Vincross, the senior pastor of the Chestnut Hill Adventist Church, runs the 9-week program and encourages the student workers to not only sell books and journals, but also pray with the people they meet. This program is changing lives. You'll especially want to read about 16-year-old Corey Allen's transformation, which is highlighted in this article. Make sure you don't miss A Poet's Thoughts at the end of the year in Valerie Phillips' poem titled The Lord of What's Left. And also in that issue, check out young adult writer Erica Richards' thoughtful article that asks this question: which story will you tell this Christmas, the one about the man in the red suit or the humble shepherd? These are available at www.adventistreview.org.
For a Meet a Missionary feature this week, we learn how God guided a missionary's work in South Korea. Tanya Holland has this report.
I'm Tanya Holland, and today we're talking to Say Cisco, and he is a missionary visiting us from South Korea. Hello, how are you doing, Say Cisco?
I'm great. How are you, Tanya?
I'm wonderful. Please tell everyone what your name means.
Oh, my name is Siseko, and it means Christ our foundation.
That is so nice. Now, can you tell us where you're originally from?
Okay, I'm originally from South Africa. My hometown is a town called Klerksdorp, which is in the Northwest Province.
Tell us one of your wonderful stories while you were a missionary, where you could tell God's presence was involved while you're there working.
Okay, I was serving at the Daejeon Dunsan Institute in South Korea, and we had Mission Day one month. And on that mission day, I had invited my students to come over and to take part in the mission day. And what happened was I had a total of 39 students who were adults. And of that 39, 30 or so, 35 or so came to the mission day. And when they had to respond to after the sermon and all the preaching that happened, 30 of my students decided that they wanted to actually have a Bible studies with either a Korean pastor or a foreign teacher. And that was just an unprecedented amount of students.
That was 30 out of 39. That's great.
30 out of 39, and I was really surprised. I thought it was normal, and well, I really felt that the Lord was working in that instance.
Thank you. That was actually wonderful to hear this, such a story. If you would like to become a missionary like Cisco, please visit us at adventistvolunteers.org.
Now let's hear from Megan Bronner. She has this week's Adventist social media highlights.
This week on Twitter, we asked you to tell us how you use technology during the church service. Here are your tech-savvy answers. Karina Joy 77 says she loves the ease of reading her Bible, comparing different versions, and taking notes during sermons on her iPhone. PTRMA09 said his church didn't like him using his iPad from the pulpit at first, but he uses it for sermons and the song service, as well as a Bible and hymnal. Friendly Christian says, with 2 kids and the amount of necessities my wife and I carry, it's great having the Bible on my Droid phone. Designer Brent says, just like they say the best camera is the one to have, so with the Bible. I always have my phone, so I always have my Bible. Jennifer Avalos says an iPad is the perfect Bible because her 17-month-old can't rip the pages. W. Ashton uses his BlackBerry Playbook as a Bible, a hymnal, and a Sabbath school lesson book. Other church members say their technology has helped them in a tight spot. Timothy D. Lee downloaded the junior class teacher's guide one morning when he found he needed to fill in for the class at the last minute. But not everyone is in love with technology in the church, however. Flying Jessie says, not a good idea. Warps our electromagnetic field and takes away our meditative state. She hashtagged that tweet, distracting.
When we come back, our tech tip of the week.
When I read The Great Hope, I came across this wonderful passage which read, "It was the power of the God of truth and wisdom that controlled even the adversaries of the Reformation and thus prepared the way for the great work about to be accomplished." Martin Luther was not present, but the voice of one greater than Luther had been heard in the assembly. This is when Luther was challenged by the court about his faith. And this gives me hope because I know that even when I'm not there, God can use even adversaries of the truth. And He can really make the work, accomplish the work through His power. Not necessarily I have to take that responsibility.
Until a few years ago, all selectable text on the web was displayed using only about 5 or 6 fonts. Now, however, there are many choices that can be easily used. What is the easiest way to find out the fonts used in a web page? It's called What Font, and it's available as an extension or a bookmarklet for most web browsers. What Font lets you easily get font information about the text you are hovering on. It also can help find the fonts other designers use, especially those whose work we admire. And if available through a font service, it helps us know where to obtain it also. One of the best methods to display custom fonts on the web is with font embedding. This works well with most modern browsers. This, however, also creates a bit of a tricky situation. While one is physically able to embed most any font on a website, fonts require an explicit license for this type of use. There are a number of services that can help you get up and running with explicitly licensed web fonts. Some of these services, like Google Web Fonts and FontSquirrel, offer catalogs of contributor-submitted web fonts and are free. Other services will sell you a license for professionally created web fonts. FontSquirrel.com is a great place to go to learn more about using custom fonts on your website. Google also has easy steps to get you started quickly.
As the Adventist Church continues its focus on spiritual revival, Arika Pooney tells us how Stewardship Ministries is getting involved.
The Stewardship Ministries of the Church is committed at all levels to the initiative of revival and reformation. Stewardship in terms of ministry focus, it's about the nurturing and the connecting to Jesus Christ. As a team of stewardship leaders around the world, we are committed to 4 areas of the Revival and Reformation Initiative document. Number 1, we are committed to circulating and distributing the document to our members. Number 2, we are committed to the 777 prayer initiative of praying 7 in the morning, 7 in the evening, every day of the week. We are also committed to encouraging our members to give more time to the study of the Bible and the writings of Ellen White. We are also committed to the promotion of the 2 specific books for this initiative, the book True Revival by Ellen White and Revive Us Again by Mark Finley. Now, beyond that, different regions of the world are involved in different kinds of activities. For example, in the Central and East Africa region of the world, the month of February is designated as a month of revival. Larry Evans, Associate Director of the department, will be in the city of Bujumbura conducting a revival meeting focusing on the celebration of the stewardship of Jesus Christ.
In Bangladesh, thousands of underprivileged children go without food and education. Here's how the Adventist Development and Relief Agency is helping some of these children get into school.
Bangladesh is a small developing nation in the northeast corner of South Asia. The United Nations estimates that nearly 40% of Bangladesh's 150 million inhabitants live below the poverty line, subsisting on less than $1 per day. In the northern city of Mymensingh, ADRA has established a development center to work with the street children that live in the slum communities. The children, aged 4 to 14, rise early in the morning and, most commonly, head to the city garbage dump to dig through the trash, collecting paper, bottles, cans, and vegetable waste. The children wade through the garbage wearing only flip-flop sandals to protect their feet. If they are lucky, they will earn about half a US dollar to buy 1 meal for the day. These are the fortunate ones. The 60 participating children arrive at the ADRA Social Integration for Street Children Development Center after their early morning work. The children participate in classes where they learn basic reading, writing, and arithmetic. They receive a nutritious meal every day, which for many will be the only hot meal they eat. The children also receive health and hygiene training along with regular health checkups. For many young children like 7-year-old Pramit, this center is their only chance for living a healthy life and obtaining an education. Pramit, who lives in one of Mymensingh's many slums with his parents, is now part of ADRA's program and preparing to enter the local primary school. Most importantly, he is eating a nutritious meal every day. His mother is very grateful to ADRA for the difference the center has made in their lives. While Pramit and the thousands of street children in Mymensingh lead very simple lives, this Christmas they have received perhaps the most important gift from ADRA and its supporters: a chance to reach adulthood.
Coming up, photographer Matt Herzl tells us about a recent trip to Madagascar.
Welcome back. Here's Sergio Gonzalez with this week's iShare report.
Welcome to iShare, the part of the show where the news comes from you. Today, we have a story from ADRA international photographer Matthew Herzl. Matthew?
My name is Matt Herzl. I recently traveled to Madagascar to see the work that ADRA is doing there. We traveled by helicopter to a number of very remote villages and saw a number of projects in health, child survival, and agriculture. In one village, we received a very special welcome from the local students at the school. Here's a short clip, and if you look closely, you'll see some of the orange shoes that ADRA donated. Enjoy.
Don't forget to visit news.adventist.org to send us your iShare reports. And tune in next week for our special holiday edition.
The impact of a strong family can reach far and wide. As Christian Home and Marriage Week approaches, Willie and Elaine Oliver explain how your church can participate.
In the Seventh-day Adventist Church, we believe that it's important to have strong marriages. When we have strong marriages, we're more likely to have strong families. In strong families, the discipleship of children is more likely to happen. In strong families, faithful stewardship is more likely to be practiced. In strong families, a faithful and strong witness is more likely to take place. And when that happens, we have a stronger church and we can preach the gospel with power and joy and help hasten the coming of Jesus Christ. In 2012, we have a brand new Family Ministries plan book titled Revival and Reformation, Families Reaching Up. Is a way for families to connect with God so that they're stronger and healthier in their relationships.
This is a wonderful resource for our upcoming Christian Home and Marriage Week, which happens in the month of February 2012. It's February 11th and February 18th. On February 11th, which is the second Sabbath in February, we have Christian Marriage Week. On February 18th, we have Christian Parenting Day. And those are the 2 days we emphasize marriage and parenting. Now, churches can do a week-long emphasis on family if they choose, but this resource will enable them to do sermons and workshops and children's stories.
When we take the time to strengthen the family, we have a stronger church, we have a stronger witness, and we can help hasten the coming of Jesus Christ. We wish this for all our churches around the world. God bless you.
Finally, let's hear from church historian David Trim. This week, the First Adventist fundraising effort sends missionaries overseas.
Welcome to This Week in Adventist History. On December 10, 1907, John Harvey Kellogg was disfellowshipped. Dr. Kellogg had been one of the most important church leaders since the 1870s, but around the turn of the century, his views of indwelling divinity seemed like pantheism to many other Adventist leaders. The issues that had been simmering came to a head in December 1902 when Battle Creek Sanitarium was destroyed by fire. Ellen White told Dr. Kellogg not to rebuild it, but he ignored her advice, and he wrote a book entitled The Living Temple, which he hoped would pay for the costs of reconstruction. It was sharply criticized by Ellen White for what she considered to be many statements of pantheism and for extreme statements on health, and so in 1907 Kellogg was disfellowshipped. Almost exactly 36 years later, on December 14, 1943, Kellogg died, aged 91, and was buried in Oak Hill Cemetery in Battle Creek, Michigan, along with his parents and along with James and Ellen White. On December 16, in 1903, Jasper Wayne, a traveling salesman from Sioux City, Iowa, started the first ingathering campaign after he found he could raise money for missions from non-Adventist businessmen. The idea spread, and in its first year, ingathering raised $30,000, a lot of money by the standards of the time, and enabled 25 new missionaries to be sent overseas. Those were the events of This Week in Adventist History.
Thanks for watching Adventist News Network. Join us again next week for more news from the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
As always, you can visit news.adventist.org for daily news and videos. Until next week, God bless.